You want to know the secret of having long lasting, peaceful relationships? Well, this is something that you have to invest in. You have probably been spending a lot of time investing in your job, investing in the stock market and real estate. But I'm going to tell you the biggest return on investment you will ever make is having peace within your relationships. Tune in. I want to talk to you about this if it's important to you. And you know what? I think it is because it has everything to do with your wealth. Tune in. If you know anything about long term health, you know that the relationships, community, and how you connect with others is what the secret sauce is in having a long term healthy life. I thought, and you may have thought, it was eating your vegetables, making certain that you drink your water, eating breakfast, right? All the things that we've been taught in, I would say, Western science, going to the doctor, getting your medicine, all that stuff. No. The reality is, it has everything to do with how you relate to others. And, if you've been following me long enough, you know that the best thing that you can do is relate to yourself in a peaceful way. Because a lot of us really want to have peace with other people, but we don't have peace within ourselves. So the first step, I always say, is having peace with other people is having peace with yourself. And I want to give you an example because if you have been following along or if you have not, you will know that we in the Rise with Diana community, we have this thing called the Rise 53 Inner Circle. And every single week we go through, and every month actually, we pick a theme and we go through the week and we actually outline things that we can do that relate to that theme. And this month, it's all about peace. It's all about investing in peace because where you put your attention and intention has a result. And we believe the best thing that you can do is put your intention and attention on peace. And how you can get that mostly is how you can have peace with yourself. See, a lot of us they have a lot of dis-ease within ourselves, so we can't have peace with others. I'm of the firm belief that when it says for me in the scriptures, you have to love your neighbor as yourself. That means that to the degree that you love yourself, to the degree that you have peace within yourself, is the degree by which you will love others. Sure, you can fake it. You can act like this is an obligation. You can just pretend and perform and be a perfectionist with it, and it's going to die. Or you could actually work on investing in the peace within yourself and taking the steps that we've outlined in our previous videos to do that. What does that mean? Having a behind the scenes practice that you actually realize that being conscious of yourself, how you respond to yourself, the stress load, the triggers that you have within yourself, how that actually impacts your overall peace is critical. Once you start to gain a sense of flow, a sense of understanding thyself, right, and knowing thyself, you are in a better position to have better relationships with others. Now, I am not speaking out of school here. This is what the scriptures say, right? You have to know this, and not just on a spiritual side of things, but it actually, well, let me just say this. In the scriptures, which is what I follow this text, it says to be one another beings, right? To be a one another beings. It's referenced so many times in the New Testament. But not only that, it's actually our heart is meant to connect with others. Do you know one of the ways that you can actually kill someone's spirit is to be alone? I mean, they did talked about this in the prison system, right? A lot of people were put into solitary confinement. That's the best way to go crazy. Some of us experienced that in 2020. So what we have to know is that it is so natural for us to want to connect with others. And it actually drives this heart brain coherence in such a lovely way. But as you know, starts with you put your own mask on first. And now we are ready to begin to invest in others. And the other thing I want to share with you is that this is, of course, scripturally, but it's also steeped in emotional intelligence, right? Because the first quadrant of emotional intelligence is self awareness and self management. Then you can get into relationship awareness and then relationship management. So I want to talk to you about what it looks like to invest in relationships. First, you have to determine which type of relationships that are worthy of investment. Because there are some relationships that you've been holding on to that you need to let go. And when you actually start paying attention to your nervous system, you start vibrating at a certain level of frequency, which is love, kindness, joy, and compassion. When you start feeling those types of emotions and you start aligning with yourself, getting very peaceful and quiet in yourself, you will start to see certain relationships that are not for you, right? We can kindly and respectfully create the right types of boundaries with those relationships and start to move into the quadrant of where do I really want to invest my time? Who are the people that I want to invest my time with? And once you start getting really clear on those people, then you need to start to you have to reflect and embody what it means to actually put yourself in relationship with those people. And so I would actually spend time writing out how you want to see those relationships evolve. What are you going to do to show up? How are you going to show up in those relationships? You got to get really clear on a lot of these things before you start putting your investments somewhere. And you already know this because if you are actually doing a financial investment, let's say for instance you want to invest in certain stock portfolios, you're going to do your research, right? If you want to invest in real estate, you're going to do your research. Same thing with relationships. You have to learn which type of relationships that you want to invest in. So, let me give you an example and I'm going to put myself on Front Street here, and I've decided that there are just certain relationships that I want to spend time with. There are relationships that I've had to move on from. And I want to start with the relationships I've had to move on from. The relationships I had to move on from were ones that didn't align with my values. For me, I believe that I love to talk about in my life, I like to talk about growth. I like to talk about how I'm growing, what I'm reading, what I'm studying, how I'm improving myself. And if I'm around people in my inner circle who like that, that's good, right? I also feel that I value my health, I value my wellness. I like to be around people who like to value their health and their wellness. That's something key for me. I also believe my faith is important. So if I can't talk about my faith with my relationships, it's not going to work. So those are three key areas that I really look at and say, okay, these are the types of people that I want in my life. So I want to attract those people in my life because I embody those values. So I will then attract people like that in my life. If in fact, the people that are currently in my life do not have those types of values, then it's likely that those relationships are going to drift away, or I can make it that I can start moving in the direction away from those relationships. So, does that make sense? And that's what you have to do. You don't dislike them, you don't like shame them or ghost them. You will naturally find a way to do this. Sometimes you might have to have conversations. Sometimes you might want to sit down with them and say, this is where I'm going and this is direction I'm going. Our relationship might be different. And here's the reason why. Like, if you value that person from that perspective, then that might be a worthy conversation. All right. Then there are other relationships where, these relationships may not have a lot of those values, but you want to invest in people because you just want to invest them. Okay. So let me just share these relationships with you. And for me, these are critical. And often these relationships that I'm getting ready to say, they do have a connection to these values. So The first relationship that I am 100% going to invest in and invest the peace in, and it looks differently for even the other two people I'm going to mention. The first one is my husband. I've been married to my husband for 28 years. Oh, can we have a moment of silence on that one? I mean, 28 years is a long time. And guess what? I've chosen to disregard certain types of things in my life and realize this isn't personal against me, but I want to coexist with this person. Yes, I have a contract with this person, but even a contract in the end of the day isn't what's holding me here. It's because I am choosing to be in relationship with this man that I love. We don't always like each other. We don't always agree. But what I've chosen to believe is that I'm going to invest in it. Same thing with your finances. You see the market go up and down, up and down. What you're going to do is just going to stay steady, right? And my husband's a financial guy, so I know these terminologies, right? So I'm just staying steady in the relationship. I am not moving anywhere. And I'm choosing to do the things like I do for myself in my relationship with my husband. And so love is patient, love is kind. It doesn't keep a record of wrongs. This is love for me. Love conquers all. So at the end of the day, I love my husband. I want to be with him. I want to be in love with him. And so when we have times of discord, when we don't agree, I'm going to look at that like I would do anything that I truly, truly love and invest in. And I'm going to find the peace in that. And we're going to continue. That's my husband. The second person that I have chosen to invest in and have peace in is my daughter. I've come to realize that once I started seeing my daughter as a full human, as a friend, someone, like I said, I value, right? I started seeing her with her own thoughts, her own vision, her own light, and her own magnitude. And once I realized that, yes, she did come from my body, but she is a whole independent human, the relationship changed and we became very peaceful. And I told my daughter, I said, the one thing that we can do is that if we can continue and maintain our relationship, what we can do? We don't have to tell each other what to do, right? Once we try to direct and control, it doesn't work. And that doesn't work for any relationship. And so, as a mother, I've come to realize that in order for me to love my neighbor as myself, my neighbor is my daughter. So as I love myself, I love her. And our relationship has substantially changed. And I'm so grateful for it. And I just think moms, we need to learn that. We can't live vicariously through our daughters or our sons. We can't live and control them. We can't tell them what to do. We have to see them as a full human, whole, complete, and adorned by God. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm investing in that relationship forever and ever. Amen. Okay. And I do the same for my son. But, I'm just saying that with my daughter and I, because we were in a rocky road for a little bit, but I had a lot of work to do on me. And that's how I invest in the relationship with my daughter. The last person I have chosen to invest a lot of time in relationship with is my mother. I am from this school of thought that I'm going to honor my mother in a way that is supernatural, that is more than what I can actually imagine. And so it's unconditional. And really, with all the relationships I have, it's unconditional, right? And it's important for me to know when I look at my mom that she, in of herself, has gone through many versions of herself, as have I. Who am I to hold my mother to such a high standard that I couldn't just freely give her love? And that is what I have chosen to do. And I invest in that. And guess what? I get a peaceful return because I honor, I take time, my resources, I put my intention and attention in giving those morsels of love, expecting nothing in return. See, these expectations, it ruins relationships often, right? And I feel that when we know that the other person values you as you value them, then it starts there. Now, we might have bad days and good days, and our days might be off, but yet still, when we see that peaceful relationships, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy, and it takes this inner knowing of thyself. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? This is so beautiful when you do it. And I just know this is important to me. It's important to you because as I said at the beginning of this video, is it's critical to your health. It's critical to your longevity and vitality. I've seen it in my 87-year-old mom is that she's created connections with people and she's deciding on which relationships she wants to invest in and which she doesn't. And let's just say for as we close out this video, for those you've chosen to um, remove yourself and create boundaries on, we see love conquers all in a different way. You can love someone, but not be in relationship with them. I always like to say this is that, Jesus had only so many disciples, right? Not everybody was on in his inner circle, but he loved everyone. And that is what the way that we have to see our lives. Isn't this so good? I am hoping that you got value out of this and that you will take time to figure out which relationships you want to invest in, which relationships it's time to move on from, how you're going to invest in them, and what steps you're going to take on a daily basis to put your intention and attention on those relationships. And as a result, you will get peace. It's up to you. It is not up to the other person. Yes, it's up to the other person in a certain degree, but you are the person that's going to come in and work on this. That's how you find peace. And you will know the more still you get and the more you love yourself and you pay attention to how your nervous system is reacting, the better relationships you will have. That is the message I wanted to share with you today. I hope this was helpful to you. If it is, and you found value in this, like and subscribe. All right. Tell your people about this. Tell them to come in. We're doing this on the weekly. Shoot, man, as I'm getting better at this, I might do more videos on a weekly basis. That's the hope. So, like and subscribe. Now, if you want to go a little further, you are a corporate woman and you realize that you want to step lively and boldly in speaking your truth from an authentic space, loving yourself, creating better relationships, leaning into your health, understanding your worth, and getting a return of peace investment in that, then you want to actually come into the Rise Advocates Academy. We have cohorts, we have an application. Go ahead and get yourself into the wait list if there's a wait list, and then we will get a hold of you and we will get you into the academy. If, say, for instance, you're just looking for a circle of people to connect with on a weekly basis, that's where our Rise 53 paid subscription comes in. And that allows you to get coaching messages and to connect with people on a weekly basis. We got you. All right. We are not playing around. We are looking for 100,000 women in our Rise Advocates movement, and we hope you are one of them. All right. That concludes today's video, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, my friend. We'll talk soon.